Okay, today we will discuss on the topic of electricity. The first thing that we will discuss is electric current and circuit. The second point that we will discuss is electric potential and potential difference. Next, circuit diagram. After that, we will discuss Ohm's law. That was the fourth point. And fifth, we will discuss about resistivity, factors affecting the resistance of the conductor. Sixth, we will discuss about resistances in parallel and series. Then heating effect of electric current, and then we will see electric power. And at the end, again, we will see the summary. And in between, whenever we finish one topic, understand one concept, we will solve problems based on that concept. So let me begin starting. First is electric current and circuit. Now, what is electric current? Electric current is defined as rate of flow of electric charges. And you know there are electric charges, meaning positive and negative charges. Okay, these charges, the electron moves, and so that movement is called as movement of electric charges. And at what rate these electric charges flows, that is defined as a current. So electric current is rate of flow of electric charge. And rate meaning is what? Rate meaning is it's with respect to time. When I say rate, for example, speed is distance upon time. So it is the rate of running. That means it is a speed. And rate of flow of electric charges meaning how many electric charges are given as Q. How many electric charges Q flow per time or per second. Electric charges flowing, electric charges are written as Q, and those are flowing per unit time of 1 second, that is called as electric charge. And simple formula you have to remember for the current is that I is equal to Q upon T, and you must be all remembering this formula. So you must be having in your list of formulas, this is one formula. But while applying, you remember that while solving the problem based on I is equal to Q upon T, I is the current which should be in amperes. Unit should be amperes to use it in this formula. Q is the charge in coulomb. Q is charge in coulomb. So unit should be in coulomb. If it is given some other unit, you convert it into coulomb. And divide by time. Time is in seconds. Remember, second, coulomb and ampere. These three units should be saved for using this formula. And then you may be given, instead of ampere, current in milliampere or current in microampere. So I actually should be in amperes, or sometimes you are given in milliamperes or microampere. Meaning is that 1 milliampere is 1000 part of the ampere. That is 1 milliampere is equal to 10 raised to minus 3 amperes. And 1 microampere is equal to 10 raised to minus 6 amperes. So both these things conversion you have to remember, because you may be given problem sometime ampere instead of amperes in milliamperes or in microamperes. So next we have to understand what is an ammeter. Ammeter is a meter to measure electric current. Electric current measure करपा खातीर जो मीटर वापरतात ताका ammeter म्हणतात. आणि एक गोष्ट तुमका ammeter बरोबर लक्षात दवरपाची आसा ती म्हणजे ammeter is always connected in series with the circuit. I will explain this. Series म्हणजे कितें ते. तुम्ही घरात सिरियली लायता म्हणून पळयला आसतले. सिरियल्स लायता म्हणजे पीक लायटी पेट्टा पळय तांकां सिरियल म्हणटात. सिरियल कशी असता, एका लायनीन असता. त्या एका लायनीन जेन्ना घालता, that we say it is in series. For example, here this is a battery, okay, and there is a key. Key is nothing but the switch, and then there is a bulb, and there is the emitter. हे सगळे सिरीजन आसा. सो emitter, bulb, battery आणि key हे सगळे एका लाईनीन आसा. That is why that is called as series. So emitter is always connected in series. You have to understand that emitter is always connected in series, and negative of the emitter is connected to the negative of the battery, and positive of the emitter is connected to the positive of the battery. So you have to remember this much knowledge in the first topic, that is electric current and the circuit. And I will go for the second topic and then go for the problems. Second subtopic is also very easy. Nothing much is there. So it tells you about electric potential or potential difference, and it is written as V. आम्ही ज्याका जनरल भाषेन voltage म्हणता, that is a potential difference, or it is called as electric potential. And what is the definition of electric potential? Electric potential is always defined for 2 points. Electric potential difference between 2 points. 2 points very important. In an electric circuit, carrying some current is the work done to move the unit charge from one point to another. So charge, I mean coulomb. Coulomb is the charge. Coulomb is the unit of the charge, which is the unit given after the scientist Coulomb. So how much charge is carried from one point to another, and that work done for carrying the charge from one to another is called the electric potential, and it is denoted as V. It is denoted as V, and given by this formula, V is equal to W upon Q, and W is the work done in joules, and the Q is the charges in coulombs. So Q is charge and work done is W. So unit is volt of V, and W is work in joules. Unit of W is work in joules, and unit of Q, that is charge, is in coulombs. So in other words, 1 volt is equal to 1 joule of work divided by 1 coulomb charge, and its unit is, either you write V, that is volts, or you write joules coulomb raised to -1. Both these are the units of potential difference V, either volts or joules coulomb raised to -1. And then one more last point. I have told you in the previous section about the emitter. Emitter is used to measure the current, and it is always connected in series. These are the 2 points you have to remember. Now you have to remember about the voltmeter. And voltmeter is a meter used to measure the voltage. Voltage measure करपाक जो meter use करता ताका voltmeter म्हणता, किंवा potential difference measure करपाक meter वापरता ताका voltmeter म्हणता. And voltmeter is always connected in parallel. This is very important point. It is always connected in parallel. Your knowledge will be tested based on these points, and I have covered all the points. Now how it is connected in parallel, that I will show you. You see here, across the bulb, voltmeter is connected. Across the bulb, voltmeter connected. That is, voltmeter is connected in parallel with the bulb if you want to measure the voltage across, potential difference across the bulb. So it is across something, that is why it is called parallel. Voltmeter is never connected in series, it is always connected in parallel. Now let us discuss what is called as circuit diagram, and we know all these things, but still I will quickly brush through. So what are the components of circuit diagram? Electric cell is written like this: one bigger line, one smaller line, plus and minus. A battery combination, or a battery or a combination of cells is like this. The more number of lines will be there. A plug key or a switch, and this is switch open, and a switch in close means there will be dot at the center. A wire joint is like this, and a wire crossing without joint over the other is like this. This is the symbol. Then we see the symbol of bulb is this one or this one. We have this symbol as the symbol of resistor, And if you want variable resistor, that is its resistances are changing, then it is this symbol or this symbol. And then we have got a symbol for ammeter and voltmeter. So this is what you have to know. And before going there, next topic is very important, that is Ohm's law. Many questions can be asked based on Ohm's law, and it is very easy. Don't worry. Just remember 3 or 4 quantities in one formula, and this formula is again repeated in one form or the other. So this is very, very simple. Don't get confused because of so many formulas. Now we have learned only 2 formulas in the previous 2 subsections. Now here we will learn only one formula, and based on this one formula we will derive or remember the other formulas. You see, what is Ohm's law? In simple fashion, you remember this Ohm's law as voltage or the potential difference is directly proportional to the current, meaning if voltage is more, then current is more. Voltage is less, current is less. So if you plot the graph, because this graph is important, that is why I am plotting it here. This graph is V and this is of I, or you can draw I here and V here. This graph is a straight line passing through the origin. So this is the graph of resistance or V by I graph. So, or V dash I graph, it is called as V dash I graph, and it shows that your voltage is directly proportional to the current flowing in this circuit. So when voltage is double, current is double. When voltage is made half, current will become half. So if I remove and the condition is that temperature should remain constant, then only this formula holds good. When I remove the proportionally constant, it becomes V is equal to IR. And this is the expression for the Ohm's law. What Ohm's law states, the potential difference V across the ends of given metallic wire of an electric circuit is directly proportional to the current passing through it, provided that temperature remains constant. This statement I have just put into mathematical form, and you have to remember mathematical form, that's all. Only mathematical form is required. And this R, which we have introduced here, that R is nothing but it's a constant and it's called the resistance. And what is resistance? Resistance is nothing but it is opposed to the flow of electric current or opposed to the flow of electrons. Resistance is nothing but it is opposed. Just remember it as opposed. So from this formula, I calculate R is equal to V upon I. So because I am transferring that side, so it becomes another formula. So we know this formula. From this we can find this formula. So here the units are important. 1 ohm, here 1 ohm is equal to 1 volt divided by 1 ampere. So the unit in this should be, resistance should be in ohms. This is the symbol. This should be in volts and this should be in amperes. So you see, suppose you want to find the current I, and current I is equal to V upon R. Is another formula based on this formula only. You remember this formula. Sometimes you find R, sometimes you find I. This is formula for R and this is for I. And very important thing you remember, that if suppose voltage is kept constant and resistance only is changed, because voltage we get at home is 220 volt and it is always constant, and we change the load is resistance. So if voltage is kept constant, then current is inversely proportional to the resistance. Again you have to remember this relation between current and resistance is they are inverse proportion. That means if current is double, resistance is half. If resistance is double, current becomes half. So current is inversely proportional to the resistance. So if you have followed these formulas and they are interrelated to each other, you have to only remember V is equal to IR. Next part, this theory you can expect in the examination. Variable resistor is, this is a symbol that we have already seen. And you see the component used to regulate the or change the current without changing the voltage source, that is called a variable resistor. So what happens, you see I is inversely proportional to the R. So if you change R, your current will change. So the variable rheostat is there just to change the current without changing the voltage. So there are types of conductor, and what is the resistance value? Good conductor is one which offers low resistance to the flow of current, very low resistance. And resistor is a component having appreciable resistance. So value of resistance can be 10 ohm, 100 ohm, 1000 ohm, and so on. Poor conductor is a component having higher resistance. Those are called as poor conductor. And insulators are one which are offering even high resistance or infinite resistance. So for example, glass, wool, rubber, all these are variable resistance. And now we will understand what are the factors on which resistance of conductor depends. So here you have to just remember these four factors on which resistance of conductor depends. And this is very much important in solving the problems as well as answering the theory questions. So resistance of conductor depends on first the length. First is its length. So and resistance is directly proportional to the length. Suppose length is double, resistance will get double. Length is made 4 times, resistance also will become 4 times. And let me say this is as equation 1. Then second is resistance of conductor depends on cross-sectional area of the conductor. That is, but it is inversely proportional. So resistance is inversely proportional to A, that is cross-section. And what is cross-section? If you take a circular or cylindrical wire conductor, you cut it, and when you cut it, you will find the area, that area is cross-sectional area, and it depends upon radius or diameter of that wire, radius of diameter of that wire, and the area is given as equal to pi r square. It is given equal to pi r square. So instead of r, you can put d by 2. So it will become pi d square divided by 4. So this is the formula for area in case you are not given the area. Then third is nature of material. So different material, copper, aluminium, and so on, nickel, all this has got different material. These are different material, and that is, this rho is resistivity. I will discuss this resistivity in further discussion. So each material has got something called as resistivity, a fixed value, and that is why third point is it depends on the nature of the material. For different material, the resistance value is different. And the fourth one, it depends on the temperature. It depends on the temperature. These are the 4 factors on which the value of resistance of a conductor depends. And we have from 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we have got the formula. The resistance value is equal to rho L upon A, and rho is resistivity, which is unit is given as ohm meter. So you have to use ohm meter, resistance as ohm, length in meter, and area in cross section. All these things is mentioned over here. So use this formula, and this formula is very, very important. Based on this formula, you may get many problems, which I will solve now. And you have to understand this part. That is, resistivity for metals and alloys are different, and for insulators like rubber and glass are different. And metals and alloys are good conductors, rubber and glass are insulators. So for good conductor, resistivity is ranging from 10 raised to minus 8 ohm to 10 raised to minus 6 ohm meter. So you have to remember minus 8 and minus 6, this range for metals and alloys. And for insulators, it is 10 raised to 12 ohm meters and 10 raised to 17 ohm meter in this range. So it is plus over here, that resistivity value is high for insulators and very, very low for metals and alloys. Just remember this. And what are alloys, which we have already studied? Alloys are mixture of metals, and they are used in electric heating devices. For example, electric iron, toasters, electric bulb, which is made of tungsten filament. They are all alloys. And copper and aluminum metals are used in transmission lines, which you have seen lines passing near the road or from the roadside. Here we have to understand this very important concept, that is resistance of systems. There are two resistance systems. One is called series resistance system, another one is called as parallel resistance system. You carefully listen to this and only know this much information, nothing much, and directly go on to solving more and more questions based on this theory. And this is very simple, don't get confused. Those who have not tried, start trying this from today. So let us discuss resistors in series. So I have R1, R2 and R3 are three resistances connected in series. Series means like this. Suppose three people are standing and they hold their one hand with another colleague, another person, and second hand with third person, and like that they hold each other's hand, and so they are said to be in series. But if two persons are there, they are holding each one's left hand with another's right hand and right with left of other, that becomes a parallel. If these two persons leave one hand, then it becomes series. Remember, it is so simple. So R1, R2, R3, these are resistances in series, and this is nothing but a circuit. So ammeter is connected to measure the current, and this is a cell or a battery. This is a key which is closed, and the current I is flowing in the entire circuit. We assume it is I. So you see here, this is nothing but a current I. Here, this is current I is flowing, and across the three resistor or across the battery, voltmeter is connected to measure the total voltage. This V will measure the total voltage, and current ammeter will measure the total current. V1, V2 and V3, again 3 voltmeters. V1 will measure voltage across R1, V2 across R2 and V3 across R3. And the direction of current is as shown in the arrow. Now in this, what you have to remember, the total resistance of these, that is effective resistance or series resistance, is written as Rs, is equal to sum of the three resistances, R1 plus R2 plus R3. And then one more part you have to understand, that the total voltage V across the three resistors is equal to sum of the voltages V1 plus V2 plus V3. So here it is equal to V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. Understand this much only. And one more part you have to understand. And that's all about this. So you see, I is the current flowing through the resistor. V1 is the voltage. Then we can write by Ohm's law, V1 is equal to I1 into R1. Likewise, V2 is equal to I into R2, and that I is same. It is not R1. So let me correct it here. So it is V1 is equal to I into R1, V2 is equal to I into R2, and V3 is equal to I into R3. You have to remember this 1, 2, 3. These three things you remember for this circuit. And let me move to this circuit. So here this circuit is called a parallel resistance, system of parallel resistance. R1, R2 and R3, they are across each other. And what happens, the current, total current is I. It is flowing through the circuit. But when it comes over here, current gets divided into three parts. I1 in R1, I2 in R2, and I3 in R3. So we have got here the resistances in parallel. Resistances in parallel, 1 upon Rp is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3. This is the formula. This is the formula. And here you see the total current I is the sum of the current I1 plus I2 plus I3. Here the total voltage was equal to the sum of the voltage V1 plus V2 plus V3. So here that is the difference. And one more difference, here V1 is equal to IR1. Here V is equal to IR. And also V is equal to I1 R1, I2 R2 and I3 R3 by Ohm's law. So here you see V is equal to IR, it is equal to I1 R1, is equal to I2 R2, is equal to I3 R3, just as we had here. Here this formula is different and here this formula is different. And here it is different than this. So please practice this or note down 100 times on your notebook all this circuit diagram and all these equations and parameters, and then it will get fixed into your head, and then you will be able to answer any type of questions. So with that, let me go ahead. You see, there were three resistances. Same I have drawn for two resistors. I have drawn it for two resistors in series and parallel. And one more formula for here we get RS is equal to R1 plus R2. Here we can find parallel resistance equivalent as equal to R1 into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Now you will ask me how this formula has come. It has come from this. So 1 upon Rp, I take the LCM. In the numerator it will come R1 Rp multiplied each other, and denominator as R1 plus, numerator is R1 plus R2, denominator as R1 R2. So when I invert and get Rp, it will become top side bottom and bottom side top. It will become this much. So you remember this formula. Instead of writing this and calculating, it will take more time. Use this formula directly to find equivalent resistance in parallel. You will get your problem solved quickly. Now few more formulas you have to know, and they are very easy formulas. Don't think that it is difficult. They are small formulas and very few formulas. If you know them and know how to use them, it's easy. Only formulas are there. This is 100% mathematics. This topic is 100% mathematics. So now we are discussing about the heating effect of electric current. So heat is produced in the when the current is flowing, and we have got one formula as I is equal to Q upon T. This is the first formula we have seen, and the formula for power is equal to V into I, voltage into current. You have to remember this, and current is Q upon T. So power is also given as V into Q into T. This formula you have to remember. And what is the unit for power? Unit for power is watts. You have to remember this. Unit for power is watts, and higher unit is kilowatt, and 1 kilowatt is equal to 1000 watts. Another formula is for heat generated, and heat generated is power multiplied by how much time the current is flowing. So heat generated is power multiplied by time. P is the power and time is the T is the time in second. So this power and multiply by this T, you will get heat generated. So heat generated is given in joules. Heat generated is given in joules. It is equal to VIT, and VI is nothing but the power. As I told you, it is power into time, and V should be in volts. Remember it, this is in volts, and I should be in amperes, and T should be in seconds. Remember this. This is very important. Another formula is here. In place of V, I put IR. In place of V is IR. So V is equal to IR. So IR into I into T. So it will become I square RT. So it will become I square RT, and this is called Joule's law. So the heat generated is given by this formula also, I square RT. Now you see how many formulas are there for heat. One is I square RT, one is VIT, one is power into time, one, and what is the formula for power? One is P is equal to VI and power is V into Q upon T. These many formulas you have to remember somehow. How you to remember, that is your matter, but you have to remember these formulas. So as per Joules, if you know this formula, you can know some theory. What are the factors on which heat is produced? The first factor, heat is directly proportional to the square of the current. H is directly proportional to the square of the current. So second, heat is directly proportional to the resistance. So H is directly proportional to the resistance, and heat is also directly proportional to the time. If it is current flowing more time, heat generated is more. So here on this formula, you remember as per Joule's law, these are the factors on which the heat is produced. And then I will tell you practical applications of heating effect. So this effect, heating effect, is bad actually because it wastes the energy, but it is utilized in some applications. It is used in laundry, toaster, oven, heater, kettle, bulb, and fuse. Fuse is made up of aluminum, copper, iron, lead, etc., which breaks the circuit when current is exceeded. It gets fused because of the heating. So fuse in domestic use are 1, 2, 3, 5 and 10 amperes. So 1 kilowatt electric iron has 5 ampere fuse, and if it is higher one, then you will have it 15 ampere fuse. And the last part remaining is electric power. But before going to electric power, let us solve some problems, and we have to finish solving before 5:45, and then 15 minutes are remaining. Remaining 15 minutes I will utilize it for this very last part, that is electric power. That is how electric power or electric energy is measured when it comes to your house, that is commercial unit. How energy, now energy we have seen in joules, but in commercial units, that also we will discuss, but that we will discuss. Now electric power, again this formula repeated. Power is equal to VI, we have already seen. It is equal to I square, again we have seen this. It's equal to V square divided by R. In one shot you remember all the formula for the power, and unit for power is watt. I have already told you it is 1 volt into 1 ampere, or instead of 1 watt it is also given power in volt amperes. And inverter specification you must be knowing, it is in volt ampere, and higher unit is kilovolt ampere. So inverter, battery, that is all given in volt ampere. So watt is also 1 unit, and Volt ampere is also another unit, and the higher one is kilowatt. That is correct. And now you have to remember this last part, that is electrical energy. Now earlier energy we measured in joules. Now electrical energy we will measure in new unit, which is a commercial unit, and that commercial, based on that commercial unit, we are built at our residence for consuming the electricity. So electric energy is power multiplied by time, and power is in watts and time is in hours. Here the time is taken in hours, remember, only for commercial unit. So it is watt hour, and the higher unit is kilowatt hour. So 1000 watt hour is equal to 1 kilowatt hour, and we are charged based on consumption of kilowatt hour, based on number of hours and based on kilowatt of power. And if you want to convert this 1 kilowatt hour into joules, it is 1000 watts multiplied by 3600 seconds, as Devastali rightly pointed out. 1 hour is equal to 3600 seconds, and it becomes 3.6 into 10 raised to 6 joules. It becomes 10 raised to 6 joules. And with this, summary is here: potential difference, Ohm's law, then resistance system, then power, and then electrical power and energy consumed. Energy consumed is kilowatt into hour. So you have to remember all these 7 formulas, all this list is given, and that is all about this topic.
We at eLearning Career Academy are running classes for standard 9 and 10 in maths and science, and also for standard 11th and 12th in physics, chemistry, mathematics and biology in offline as well as online mode using memory techniques. Here are the links for joining these classes. These links are also given in the description of this video.